I had my first colonoscopy about 10 years ago. It was pretty non-problematic. I had a follow-up 5 years later, the one late last year. The doctor came to see me after the procedure and told me that he had been surprised to find a really large polyp in the cecum.
Patrick presented to me with a dilemma where he was diagnosed to have a polyp in his colon, and despite 2 attempts by a gastroenterologist who's very competent, it was not possible to remove it completely. The cecum is the beginning of the large intestine. The cecum is very thin-walled as compared to the rest of the colon.
I met with Dr. Shukla, and he explained to me that he and his colleagues had been working on a new technique.
And if we can avoid doing a formal surgical procedure for a polyp, that would really save him from going through a major operation, hospitalization, and the risks associated with surgery. Within the US, more than 25,000 surgeries are being done for benign polyps. And that's a staggering number. So for many, many years, my partners and I, we were working on whether we can reduce performing major surgeries for benign polyps. And the DiLumen was conceived and created at the Cornell Medical Center, NY Presbyterian Hospital.
I didn't know for sure that it was going to work for me because I had learned that my polyp was in a very difficult to get at place.
This is the DiLumen. The colonoscope goes in here and exits through this end. The DiLumen has 2 balloons at the end of it, and this actually is a great enabler for us to perform the polypectomies. We also have the ability to push out this balloon, and that actually creates a zone of stabilization. This is a view through the colonoscope, and this is now the balloon which you saw on the device. After it's inflated, we can actually pull the polyp. We can see the polyp here, and the polyp is being delivered using the rods of the DiLumen. So that's the polyp now hanging down, and it's in a very good position for us to actually take.
I came prepared to either have a very brief one-day exercise or to have surgery and be in for several days. I didn't know what the outcome would be. After I recovered, I learned the good news that the procedure had been successful and that I could go home that day.
We are actually shifting the paradigm, especially in cases where you don't need to cut a piece of the colon or the bowel out. This is a complete changer in that. In Patrick's case, the prognosis is excellent because the polyp was completely removed. It was benign.
I've had another colonoscopy 6 months later, and I'm happy to say there was no regrowth, and now my next appointment is 3 years from now.